Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and today I'm really excited to show you some card techniques using Shimmer Shakers and mask stencils from Creative Expressions. So we've got 6 new stencils to play with and 12 Shimmer Shakers, plus 2 border die sets and some really fun ways to combine all of them. There's a lot to explore today, and I'm so glad you're here. Come play with us. Let's start with our Shimmer Shakers. Now, these might be new to you, and they were to me. So in that case, I think we'll both discover that there's a lot of creative potential in these little jars of color. So Shimmer Shakers are a dry powder containing mica and pigment. So you'll get vibrant color plus shimmery shine. And I think you can see here from the colors I've got laid out on my table how rich and vibrant that color is. All you need to do is combine them with water and you'll create some really beautiful effects. So I'm going to take the lid off one of these so that we can just take a closer look. You'll see that they come in a shaker bottle with a flip top lid, and that keeps the powder safe and it's a lot less messy than you might think. It also allows for really controlled application. So there's just 3 little holes in here, and that means that your color is going to go where you want it to. So let's take a look at the simplest way to use these. So I'm going to leave out my raspberry rose, this really vibrant red. I'll move aside all of my other colors, and I'm just going to bring in a piece of plain white cardstock. Now, the first thing I want to do is get the cardstock a little bit wet. So I'm going to bring in a water mister, and I'm just going to mist a little bit of water here on that white cardstock. And then just take off the lid and tap on a bit of the color. Now, you don't need to have a whole lot. A little bit will do, and you can see how beautifully that color is spreading out. Now, I could leave it like this if I wanted. I could also come back and add a little bit more water on here as well. And it will, of course, depend on how intense I want that color to be. So that's with one color. I can also come back. Let's see, maybe I'll get... This is the pure gold. I'll add a little bit of gold to this and see how that will turn out. So I'm not adding any more water at this point, but I'll just tap on a little bit of the gold and we'll let that react with the water and then maybe give another mist or so. And then all I need to do is just let this dry. I can add more color. I can use a paintbrush or a brayer to spread things out if I want to. I can let the color and the water kind of run back and forth. There are a lot of different options that I can do. Of course, I can even add in a third color if I wanted to get a little bit more vibrancy in here. When this dries, and I can just let it air dry, it's going to have that rich, beautiful color. It will also have a bit of shimmery shine to it. So let's take a look at some of the colors that I've got, because once I started shimmer shakering, I had a hard time stopping. So I've got all of our colors here on a little swatch book. We can take a look. This is the Bright Sunshine. So this is a really fun, cheerful yellow. Now this is dry. You can see how bright and vibrant that color is, plus a little bit of shine. We have the Teal Ocean, which gives a beautiful effect as well. We have the Deep Purple, really pretty color. And these are all applied in the same way that I just demonstrated. So that's the Deep Purple. Here's that Pure Gold that we added into our raspberry, and this is it on its own. Here is the Purple Paradise, a really bright, vivid color. The Lime Burst, I'm going to confess, I think this one is probably my favorite. It's got a really beautiful blue and green combo together. The Tangy Tangerine, which is a lot of fun too. Got some shimmer and shine there. And then we have the Denim Dash on here, really rich blue color. And I think here you can really see that metallic sheen. The Raspberry Rose, this is the one that we started out with. And Electric Blue, really bright, vivid blue. Now this is the Sparkle Snow, and I know that this one might be a little bit tricky to see because of course it is a snow color, so a white color, and I've got it onto white cardstock. In person, you can really see the vibrancy of this, but also if you happen to combine it with a little bit of blue, you can even get a prettier effect in there too. Now, the other thing I like about it is that you can, of course, use it onto black. So this is that sparkle snow on the black, and let me show it to you again on the white. So you've got some different options here. Now, the last one I want to show you is the Lush Pink. Here it is on white, and I tried it out on black as well. So I think you can really see that you've got lots of different options here. So keep in mind, you can combine them. You can also work them onto different colors of cardstock, either white, black, or pretty much anything in between. So for this card, I've combined the raspberry rose with gold for my background, just as we saw with the demonstration. But then I also added a watery wash of deep purple and just spattered it on top. And this is a really fun way to add another layer of texture and dimension to your cards. So let me show you how easy this is to do. So I've got the piece that I just made earlier in my demonstration, and I've got a little bit of the deep purple here. So what I'll do is just add some of this color onto my craft sheet. Don't need very much. And then I'm going to mist a little bit of water. When I do this, I'm not spraying the water directly into the powder because that can kind of tend to kick back. I'm going to add some water just over to the side a little bit. And I'm going to use a water brush. You can also use a paintbrush for this if you want to, kind of whatever small brush you have on hand. Now I'm mixing the water with that Shimmer Shaker color. Got my brush loaded. Then all I need to do is hold my brush perpendicular over my surface and just tap this. And of course, the more water I use with my Shimmer Shaker, the less intense the color will be. So it just depends on how dark you want that color to be and how intense you want the vibrancy to be. But I just love how this adds another layer of texture and dimension onto this already beautiful background. So then what I'm going to do is just kind of clean this up. It cleans up really easily with a little bit of tissue there. And we can take a look again at this card and see how this comes together. Now you might also be noticing, besides the dazzles and the ribbon, that I've got a torn edge on here. And this is one of the dies. So this is the Essentials collection, the Distressed Edges. So one of the 2 die collections I want to show you today. And this set contains 4 dies. Each one is going to give you a really cool kind of faux torn effect. So the dies measure, they're about 6 inches long, and they're going to give you some really fun looks. So I've got a sheet here where I've done all of these 4 together. But as you'll notice, with one die, you're getting 2 sides. So here's one, here's one, here's one, and here is the 4th one. So you can see where that die shape comes in. Of course, you can use them together. You can also combine them with one another. They add a really unique look to your cards. And I think they also look really great when you combine them with the stencils. So let's take a minute to take a look at our mandala masks. We've got 6 masks to play with today, and these are called mandala masks, and they come in some really gorgeous and versatile styles. So we have the chevron loops, we have lotus loops, dahlia loops, there's the bubble loops, the petal loops, and finally the 5-point loops. Now each of these stencils is about 5.5 inches across, and they can be used just like a stencil with chalks and paints and inks and other medium, and of course also with Shimmer Shakers. One great way to combine Shimmer Shakers with masks and stencils is by creating your own color spray. So you'll need an empty spray bottle of some kind, and this one that I have here is about 2 inches from top to bottom. I start with a fairly small amount of water. I don't fill the whole thing with water. I've got maybe about 1/2 inch of water down here at the bottom. And then all I need to do is add my Shimmer Shaker color. So what I'm going to do is move aside these elements, and I'm going to work with my beautiful teal ocean. So I'm going to take off the top of my spray bottle here, and then I'll take off the top of the Shimmer Shaker. Now when I open up the shaker portion, you can see those 3 little holes that gives you so much control. Well, to tap this in here, it's going to take me quite a while. So instead what I'll do is just prise off that rubber stopper, And then I'm going to spoon the color into my bottle of water. So I've got a little metal spoon here. Whatever you have on hand will do the trick. And I'm going to add a couple of scoops of color here. So I want it to be quite intense for the camera. So maybe add 3 scoops in here. And then what I'm going to do is just pop the top back on here. Already you can see that beautiful rich color, but I'll give it a bit of a shake, as you do with most of your color sprays, just to make sure that that's really mixed in. But take a look at that beautiful teal color. So now what I can do is bring back in my cardstock, and I'm working with a matte cardstock, so not a glossy. I've actually got 2 pieces on hand because I want to do stenciling on one, and then I'm also going to do kind of a reverse stencil technique on the other. So I'll start with just 1 piece of that cardstock, and I'm going to put down my Bubble Loops mandala mask here. And I'm going to kind of put this off to the side. I want to be able to create the misted effect around the outside edges of this mask. If you wanted to tack it down with a little bit of tape, that's also fine, but I'm just going to go for it. So I'll give my color a final mist here and then just spritz as you would normally. So I'll spray that color on here. Of course, you can do as many rounds as you want to. Just depends on how dark you want that color to be. And then what I'm going to do is just carefully lift the mask straight up and take a look at that beautiful color. So all I need to do is let this dry. What I'm going to do is kind of mop up some of this excess color on my craft sheet here, because I've still got this beautiful color on here. So while I've still got that color spray, I'm going to take my second piece of cardstock and I'm just going to pop it down right on top and then smooth this. Make sure that I've got contact with all areas of that mandala stencil and just smooth this gently with my hands. If you wanted to, you could take a brayer across the top of that too. That works. And then I'm going to lift this straight up. And so now I have my reverse stencil and my stenciled effect. So a positive and a negative. I just need to let these dry. If I want to speed up the dry time, I can use a heat tool to do that. But I like to let these air dry, and then I'm going to have a really beautiful shimmery effect. But for now, I'm just going to mop up some of this color here. I just need to clean my stencil with a little bit of water. And then let's take a look at some of the card projects that you can do. So with this Celebrate card, I've used the Lime Burst as the spray with the Bubble Mandala card focal. The background is done with electric blue and deep purple, and that same technique that we saw in the first card project. You'll see my distressed edge here on the side, and all I needed to add were a little bit of dazzles and some ribbon, and I've got a really fun, shimmery, kind of a soft sparkle card on here with lots of beautiful colors. So this is with my stenciled effect. Now with the reverse stencil design of that same piece, I can get a second card like this one. So here I've combined it with the Dotted Duos paper and a Dazzle sentiment. Now the edge of my card has been cut with another set of borders. So when I open this up, I've got a really pretty scalloped effect. And these work in the same way as the distressed edges. These are from the stitched curved dies. It's going to give you a completely different look. Now there are 4 dies in this set, and I've also got a sample here to show you so you can see you're able to get 4 really beautiful designs. Now I've cut these and separated the pieces. With this one, I just left it together because I thought it would be a fun reminder that you could use these to also create some pockets or to tuck in, maybe if you're doing scrapbooking, to hold the edge of a photo or some journaling on there as well. So with this technique, you're able to get some really different effects, I think. So let me show you once again our stenciled look and our reversed stenciled look. Same mask, same color spray, 2 completely different looks.